The universe isn't watching you, it's responding to you. And it turns out even atoms get a little weird when they know that they're being observed. The double-slit experiment proved it. Reality behaves differently when someone else is paying attention. So maybe it's not just quantum physics, maybe it's just all of us. Just waves collapsing into form the moment we decide to look. It's science, it's chaos, it's a cosmic inside joke, and we're all the punchline. This is just another Manicc episode where we evolve out loud, unpolished, unapologetic, and unbothered. Every episode, we embrace our infinite paradox, the messy, cosmic, beautiful journey of becoming. Even atoms get weird when they realize they're being watched. They decide how to behave when someone is paying attention. And honestly, same. I've also been known to act differently when someone's watching. But here's where it gets strange. Maybe observation doesn't just change particles, maybe it changes people. When you start observing your own patterns, your thoughts, your reactions, things begin to shift. It's not just therapy talk, it's quantum. Because awareness, attention, whatever you want to call it, literally changes what's possible. Scientists call it wave-particle duality. I'd say it's the art of being seen and still being yourself. Maybe every version of you, confident, chaotic, curious, burnt out, is just a different probability wave. And the moment you look at one and say, yeah, that's me today, it collapses into form. So maybe we're all double-slit experiments, half potential, half performance, and try not to overthink the fact that our energy might actually be the camera crew. So let's explore quantum physics, the observer effect, the idea that awareness isn't just consciousness, it's creation, it's science, it's chaos, it's kind of hilarious. So welcome to quantum self-awareness. Okay, let's just get this out of the way. The fact that atoms behave differently when observed. It's kind of rude. Like imagine if your coffee cup just stopped existing correctly every time someone looked at it for too long. That's the universe's vibe right now. Mysterious, dramatic, and apparently a little self-conscious. So here's what went down. Scientists, being the curious chaos gremlins that they are, shot 2 electrons through 2 tiny slits in a wall, expecting them to land in predictable little lines like good, obedient particles. But nope. When nobody was watching, these electrons didn't behave like particles at all. They act like waves. They scattered across the screen, interfering with each other, creating this trippy ripple pattern like the universe's very own lava. Then, plot twist, the moment someone decides to observe the experiment, the electrons went, oh no, someone's watching, act natural, and immediately collapsed into clean, neat little lines again. So even matter gets stage fright, which is both hilarious and profound. Because here's the thing, the only variable that changed was awareness. Not temperature, not gravity, not the instrument, just someone paying attention. And that's the observer effect. Reality literally reconfiguring itself based on whether or not it's being perceived. Which low-key means every time you walk into a room, the atoms around you might actually be like, positions everyone. But if subatomic particles can shift their behavior just because they're being seen, what does that say about us? Maybe self-awareness isn't just psychology, maybe it's physics. Maybe every time you decide to notice yourself, your energy collapses into a different version. You're both the wave and the watcher, the chaos and the choreography. And honestly, that's relatable science. Let me break it down like this. Everything in the universe can act like a wave or a particle, meaning you, me, and your Wi-Fi signal, we all exist as probabilities until we're being observed. That's wave-particle duality. It's basically the universe saying, I can be anything I want until someone looks. Think of it like this, you're every possible version of yourself until you decide to show up as one. The confident one, the tired one, the one who swore she was going to meditate, but ended up doom scrolling instead. All valid, all existing in your personal field of quantum potential. Then someone texts you, hey, how are you? And suddenly you have to pick a version of yourself to present. Congrats, Schrödingers, you have been observed. That's quantum collapse in real time. Before observation, you were infinite, a waveform of potential outcomes. and after, a solid particle of I'm fine. But the wild part is, this isn't just a metaphor, it's quantum mechanics. Particles genuinely exist in multiple states at once. It's called superposition. They only choose a state when they interact with something conscious or measurable. Translation, reality doesn't commit until someone is watching. Which, same, every day you wake up as a wave of pure possibility. Then your alarm goes off, you stub your toe, and suddenly you've collapsed into a timeline where you're late for work and you're drinking cold coffee. But here's the plot twist. If observation collapses potential into form, then awareness isn't just noticing life, it's creating it. The version of you that you observe most often, the one you feed your attention to, becomes the one that keeps showing up. So call it manifestation, call it math, but the universe is following your focus. So maybe the real experiment is this. What happens when you decide to see yourself differently? When you stop seeing a mess and start seeing matter reorganizing. Because in quantum physics, even chaos follows intention, and in self-awareness, so do you. Observation doesn't just change atoms, it changes people. Like, have you ever noticed that when you're at home alone, you're basically a whole ecosystem? You're fluid. You sing to your plants, you dance in the kitchen, you talk to your reflection in the mirror. You exist in multiple frequencies at once. But the moment someone walks in, you collapse into a socially acceptable version of yourself. The vibe shifts from ethereal being vibing with the universe to tax-paying citizen who has to make eye contact. That's the observer effect. Your energy literally recognizes when it's being perceived. In physics, it happens because measurement disrupts the system being measured. The act of observing introduces new energy, changing the outcome. Translation, even subatomic particles get performance anxiety. So if you've ever wondered why small talk drains your soul, congratulations, you're scientifically valid. Being perceived means your internal waveform has to collapse into a single version of reality, one that makes sense to other people. You're no longer infinite potential, you're the person at brunch trying not to spill their drink, and that takes energy. Maybe that's why some of us crave solitude so deeply, because it's the only time we get to be the wave, to exist in all our contradictions without needing to explain them. In quantum mechanics, this is called decoherence. When something interacts with its environment or gets observed, it loses its pure wave state. Spiritually, I'd call it other people, but that's what makes being human so beautiful. We're constantly collapsing and expanding, shifting from seen and unseen. The universe does it, and so do we. So if you feel tired after socializing, it's not just introversion. It's the physics of being perceived. You may not be drained. You might just be recalibrating, returning to the wave state. The part of you that dances and sings and exists between frequencies. That is the real you. The rest is just how you refract under observation. And here's where it gets wild. Reality doesn't fully exist until you interact with it. The act of paying attention, of caring, literally shapes what becomes real. In quantum physics, this is what's called collapse of the wave function. The moment when infinite possibilities condense into one observable outcome. And it doesn't happen until something interacts with the system, which means reality isn't out there waiting for you to find it. It's being co-authored by your focus. Every time you care about something, a goal, a relationship, a dream, even a random thought at 2 a.m, you're feeding it energy. You're choosing which version of the universe gets rendered in 4K. You're not manifesting, you're participating. You're collapsing probability into presence. Think of your attention like the world's most chaotic camera crew. Wherever you point the camera, the scene becomes real. Everything else just sits in the background waiting for direction. So when people say protect your energy, they're not just talking spiritual talk, it's physics. The reticular activating system in our brains filters reality based on what you decide matters. That's why caring can be exhausting, because to care is to collapse infinite versions of the world into one specific outcome, to declare this is the one that I am choosing. It's the emotional version of quantum collapse. Every what if, every maybe, every someday, every I wish I didn't care so much, that's you surfing waveforms of potential futures. The second you care, one of those futures become real enough to affect you. But here's the twist: the universe doesn't distinguish between good and bad attention. It just follows the signal. So when you're obsessing over what could go wrong, you're still collapsing energy into a form, just not the form you probably prefer. Caring is creation, but it's also collaboration. You get to decide how to tune in, so the next time someone says don't care so much, maybe they're right, but it's not because caring is for the weak, but it's because caring is powerful. Every ounce of focused love, anxiety, and intention is shaping the quantum field around you. You are not just reacting to the universe, you're composing it. So maybe the universe isn't this all-seeing eye lurking over us like the world's nosiest neighbor. Maybe it's just matching frequency. Every thought, every focus, every act of awareness sends out a signal into the field of probability, and the universe goes, bet. You think you're chasing alignment, but half the time you're just finally tuned in enough to notice the feedback loop. It's not judging you, it's vibing with you. The universe isn't sitting there handing out gold stars for good behavior. It's more like a mirror with a sense of humor. You frown, it frowns back. You wink and it's like, oh, we're flirting now. It's reflective energy, not divine surveillance. And maybe that's the real beauty of being alive right now, that we get to participate in that reflection. Because in this era, we literally document our quantum collapses in real time. We create content, share our spirals, record our lessons, and beam them into the collective field. Every post, every podcast, every late night video is an act of co-creation. You're not just performing for the algorithm, you're showing the universe what kind of art you make when you're self-aware enough to hit upload. And whether one person watches or 1 million, the point isn't the numbers. It's the observation itself, because someone is watching. The universe, the future self, the versions of you who needed proof that she wasn't crazy for feeling everything so deeply. That's the magic of this timeline. We've turned perception into participation. We're not waiting for the universe to respond anymore. We're responding with it. So no, the universe isn't watching you, it's watching with you. You look up and it's already looking back, like, finally you saw me, now let's make something cool. So if this hits for you, if it made you feel a little more human or a little less alone, subscribe, follow, hit whatever button's in front of you. Does it help my numbers? Absolutely. But also do it for yourself, because maybe the act of showing up here in this little corner of the internet is a form of co-creation. Maybe the algorithm isn't evil. Maybe it's just another mirror. Every like, every comment, every moment you spend here is a small ripple that says, I saw this, I felt that. And that's how the universe knows what to send you next. So keep collapsing reality in the direction that feels right. Keep noticing the weird, the beautiful, the unexplainable, because if this universe really is mirroring you, you might as well give them something to reflect. That was just another Manicc episode. Take what resonates, recycle the rest, and don't forget to stay hydrated.